Back in the 60s, as an alternative to going and getting dead in the war, I joined the National Guard in Montana. It was a special forces unit that let us wear green berets and made us jump out of airplanes. And I actually worked there full time for a while as well. One of our training jumps was outside of Missoula. I think it was a C-119, flying boxcar, whatever it was. It had a fuselage on the back that had a door on each side. You could get like, what is it, 56, 28 out each side, I believe it was. I don't remember, whatever it is, whatever it was. I was the second guy out the door. And there was people on the ground watching the training jumps. You know, everybody get your relatives, we're gonna go have them come out and watch, it's a big deal. So my mom was there and a couple other friends. And like I said, I was the second guy out the door, and I checked my stuff, I jumped out, I counted, did the whole thing, looked up, got my chute straight, made sure everything was fine, and then you just basically hang there and ride down. The ride down is really, really, really fun. The stepping out the door is the most unnatural act I've ever committed. Landing on the ground in those old military shoes was bam, it was no fun, but the ride down was sweet. Except this time I didn't go down. I realized, I hung there and I watched everybody else come out of the airplane. And then I realized I was looking at the top of the plane. I was seeing not way up, but I was higher than the plane. I could see the top of the wings, see the top of the plane. So I'm thinking the plane didn't go down because we were jumping from, I don't know what it was, 1,200 feet, I think. It was low. And in the military, it's low altitude jumps, which is good because you get out of the plane, you get your chute open, you get on the ground as soon as you can, because the rest of the time you're a target. So that day my parachute went up. And I have witnesses. My mother, she saw it, only she died last year. Two of my friends were there. One of them is still alive and she remembers it. She actually brought it up the other time I saw her. She mentioned something about, well, you remember that time your parachute went up? And I'm like, how am I going to forget that? And I watched everybody come out of the plane. I watched them all land. I watched their chutes collapse on the ground. They rolled them up, packed them up, carried them back across to the trucks. And I heard somebody on the ground yell, "Who's that?" The plane's long gone. It's silent up there. And I was still just hanging there. There wasn't a sensation of wind blowing me up, like real narrow, hard updraft. It's conceivable, but I've never heard of it happening. So I hung there for what seemed like forever. And eventually a diagonal slip. You've got 4 risers. And they go up to the shroud lines, and that goes up to the canopy. A diagonal slip is the fastest way to get moving. It spills the most air. And I pulled the riser down, nothing happened. I kept pulling it down. I finally got my foot in it. I shoved my foot down. I was in the shroud lines. I was almost up to the edge of the canopy. And it finally spilled enough air so I could come down. Last guy in the sky. It's kind of the story about God told somebody, well, I sent you the boat, I sent you the donkey, I sent you the helicopter, you know, you still didn't get it. And it was like, I held your parachute up in the sky that day, and you still didn't get it. It took me a long time on that one. Thanks for watching.